Hey everybody, welcome to Review with Me, your review guide of shows, movies, and everything in between. Be sure to click the like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get on with this review. Hey everybody, welcome back to another review with me. Let's go ahead and get into this review. We are reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 13, The Truth Always Comes Out. Ooh, Lord. This show, okay, it starts off with a mem and a Aatchi. A mem and a Aatchi. Aatchi's walking in, already looking like he's about to go to sleep. Aatchi always looks like he's about to go to sleep or he just woke up and he probably still got some eye boogers. My goodness, this man needs to really get it together. While a mem, she always looks thebomb.com. Very well put together, very pristine. So she's in this suit outfit. Mind you, it's not really, I guess it's not really a date appropriate outfit. But considering the circumstances of their relationship, their whole dynamic, I wouldn't expect a mem to come out looking all, scantily clad or anything like that. But anyway, she looks good nonetheless. So they're at this ice cream shop and she's already there. She's ordering or she's looking at the ice cream. Aatchi is the one who walks in. And they're making no eye contact. When I tell you no eye contact, none. It feels so forced. It feels so awkward. So a mem is just standing in front of the ice creams, the different flavors of the ice cream. And finally Aatchi walks in kind of huffing and puffing like, okay, I gotta do this fucking scene. That's what it feels like. So they finally, he orders or he says something and he makes the order for the both of them, which I thought was very interesting. Like, okay, look at him finally taking some leadership. And they finally sit down. So they sit down outside. Aatchi is going on and on about how he's about to be out of town. He's going to go to Houston for homecoming, going to see his family and meet his new niece and just all of the things that he's going to do without a mem. Not once during that exchange did Aatchi even relay a little bit of an invite or a hope of an invite. A mem even says herself, oh, I would love to meet your mom. And he just sat there like, okay, you could love to meet her all you want, but you ain't. You could love to meet her all you want, ma'am. You are not meeting any parts of Aatchi's family. I'm trying to circle back to the taco fiesta night that they had at their shared apartment. I don't remember if Aatchi brought any of his family. It probably was just coworkers, two coworkers, if that. Anyway, so no, I think I remember a couple. Yeah, it was a couple. They were engaged. Maybe that was, I don't know. Nonetheless, he doesn't really bring any family around. You could tell that he's very disconnected, disjointed. Granted, his family does live out of state, so that's a good reason as to why he doesn't introduce her to them, I guess, but still there's still no connection to him and his life, nor does he just open himself up to answering questions about his life and his family, anything like that. He gets super defensive and it just becomes very combative. So a mem notices that he's not wearing his wedding ring. He is not wearing his wedding ring. She says, oh, I see you're not wearing your wedding ring. And he says very quickly, I was washing dishes and I took it off and I forgot to put it back on. BS. Since when do we really have to take off our rings to what are you washing so thoroughly that you can't tap dry the metal around your finger? Sir, miss me with that BS, especially since we see the preview of next episode and how he approaches Amem with divorce papers. He was already preparing to remove this ring and to get this show on the road. And also seeing that he had already planned to go home and go to homecoming and do things with his family, with his people, with his crew, without lending an invitation to Amem. That tells me already he was even further down the road of being checked out. And him removing his wedding ring was just another indicator of that. So Amem is just like, you could see that she's like, okay, noted. Like she's uncomfortable, not really present. Surprisingly, he's asking questions and he's actually speaking. He asks, what brings you joy? You know, those stupid ass poetic questions that he likes to ask to appear as if he's artsy fartsy. Like, music soul child, please. Let's get to it. And I could swear to y'all, this question has been asked before. And this answer has been discussed before. So this idea of him not knowing about her or these like surface ass questions is just BS. It's just further fluff to get through a scene to get to the last point of this experience. Aatchi is completely checked out. He's not present. And it's evident. So Amem says, this ice cream is bringing me joy right now. And that was a cute little moment. Like, she was being humorous then. But Aatchi wasn't really like, it just felt so full. It felt like pulling teeth, y'all. It was so cringe to watch. She then goes into other examples of what brings her joy, peace, being around people who support her, yada, yada, yada. Then Aatchi goes on and say, his niece, who he's about to meet this weekend, brings him joy, and his family, like being able to go home for the weekend, and then he goes on to that, explaining how he's about to go out of town to see his family, and there's no invite for Amem. So we move on to Camille and Thomas. They're on the bed, and they're using this massager, aka a vibrator. I feel like it's a both ways type of device. It starts off with Thomas using it on Camille. So he's just like rubbing her down with this massager, and then they switch off and Camille is jumping on his back. Like, she literally jumped and plodded down and plopped on his back. And I'm like, okay, Camille, though I appreciate this spurt of energy, he's a little bit older than you, and you might want to relax. You could tell Camille likes it rough. She's talking to him very aggressively in this character, saying, don't be a little bee, don't be a little bee, and so she's going rough on him with the massager. And it just felt like, what is this about? Because Camille goes on and on talking about how she would like for him to throw her on the bed and rough her around. But how is he going to do that when you're doing that to him, Camille? How is Thomas going to rough you around when you are roughing him? You're already pegging him. He's being pegged. So Thomas, he finally gets back on top of her. And hold on, am I jumping ahead? Do I have this for another scene? No, we could get into that. Okay, so he jumps back on top of her, and he gives her these kisses. And I think I'm jumping ahead. Let's wait to that part. Okay, but I just feel like Thomas, he can't help himself. Like, no matter how much he tries to appear more thugger, he is still just a nice guy. And it just is what it is. So we jump into Madison. Madison does this like solo cam moment. She says she's about to do a get together with the girls. And she's excited about that. At first, when she gave us that moment, I thought, oh, here we go again. Madison going out, drinking, being out with her friends until 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. But then we learned that is actually with the girls from the show. So the wives here, they're actually planning to meet and just like hang out. So we see her, Michelle, Carla, Mem, and Camille. They're at Carla's establishment or whatever it is, and Carla is hosting this sound bath. While the husbands, they're at this like fight night, and Juan is the one who's hosting. Allan walks in to the fight night, and he's like, "What up, Papi?" Yo, I don't know if y'all caught that moment, but I was like, "Okay, Allan, what up, Pop? Okay." I felt like that was kind of sexy, and I feel like Madison, she's missing out. You know, it is what it is at this point. You like who you like, but I really feel like she didn't give Allan a fair shake. And in that moment right there, when Allan said, "What up, Papi?" I was like, okay, we know what this is about. Like, what in my impression is Allan knows what to do when it's time to do. Just by him saying, "What up, Papi?" Just by him saying, "What up, Papi?" I was like, oh, something tingled within me. So the girls are talking about the infamous text that Michelle introduces to the conversation. And I'm looking at Madison the whole time. Now, mind you, throughout this like conspiracy of who sent the text from the group or who was the text intended to be intended for, all these things, I was not trying to feed into the whole, it's Madison, go down this rabbit hole. I wanted to just wait it out. But the way that they're painting this, this story, it forces you to go down this rabbit hole. So we're focused on Madison's reaction and what she says in that moment and seeing if she will say something that gives us like an Easter egg. So David also tells this story too while he's out at fight night. And he explains it the same way he's telling Michelle. So he says, "Yeah, I sent her this text. It was really from my cousin Denise, and it said, I want to eat you up, blah, 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 blah." And you could tell all the guys was like, oh, especially Thomas. Thomas being the nice guy that he is, even though he said he cheated in the past, you could tell that really ate him up. Like, he's a really he's one of those guys that he really can't be a bad guy. Like, it really would eat him up. Thomas, though he was sympathizing with David, you could see it in his face. Well, he said it himself. He said, "Yeah, I could definitely see how that appears. And I could see how she would feel hurt by that." Or, something about, feeling suspicious about that and not finding what he's saying credible. So we jump into Michelle. Michelle meets with Pastor Cal. She starts off meeting with him first at this spot. And she tells him about the text, says that since she confronted David about it, she says she hasn't heard from him since. And Pastor Cal, he's taking it all in. David joins the conversation. He finally joins them, and he is still standing on business. David is not fight. You know how you have the kid who just will not tell you who ate the cookie when you know no one else is in this house. When I told you to not eat this cookie. And he said, "It wasn't me. No one else did it. It's just me and you, kid. No one else did it." That's David. Like, you're lying right into my face, and you probably feel like, well, I'm already deep into this lie. I have no choice but to continue. And I feel like that's what it is with David. So David's continuing about this lie. He's saying that he doesn't want to bring his cousin into it. He doesn't want to show the text. He doesn't want to talk about it anymore. Like, I don't care. He says, yeah, so what? He meets with other women from time to time and they have drinks. So what? I meet with my exes and we fuck sometimes. So what? Like, wait, what? He says one of the women who he's met with, she's in a relationship. So what? Like there's nothing there because she's in a relationship. Sir, David, cut it out. You're in a marriage and you're already cheated. Like, what are we talking about? As if suddenly there's a switch that goes off and people who are in relationships, in marriages, do not cheat. As if there's like, there's no cheating going on. Like, you just become this robot. No, you cheat whenever you want to cheat. Married, in a relationship, single or not. Okay, whatever it is. David feels fed up with Michelle. He's saying like, look, her feeling upset about this. He feels like the timing is quite odd, and says that, he feels like she doesn't truly care. She's just caring because, like, he doesn't give the reason, but he's saying that right now she suddenly is caring. But before this moment, she was not really interested in making this marriage work. She was already checked out. And apparently there was a moment prior when Michelle says, I really don't care, David, about this whole text. So he references that during this talk. Michelle says the door was not closed for her, meaning that she was still putting in effort. I talked to you for 20 minutes yesterday. That's me putting in effort. Michelle, now you know for damn well you don't. The thing is with Michelle, I think it's just an ego thing. I think it's an ego trip. I think she's hurt. It's her ego that's it. It's not her feelings. I don't think she's crying about this. I don't think she's really upset. I think it's just a principle. Like, dang, I'm over here dogging you out. You living in a basement. You don't live in this 2,500 rent apartment like I do, overlooking the coast. I live better than you. Look at you. And you have the nerve to sex someone else? I think that's what it is. Like, the audacity of you. So Pastor Cal encourages Michelle to actually reach out to cousin Denise and confirm the details of this story that David is trying to make her believe. They're outside. They leave Pastor Cal. They're outside on the sidewalk. And David's trying to make small talk, like, how was girls' night? Michelle's like, it's fine. It was fine. Okay, so why don't you just tell me what really happened with this text? What's going on? There's nothing to tell. It was for my cousin Denise. She's like, why don't you just let me know what's really going on? Don't you care about how you look, how you appear? He's like, I don't want to. I don't, like, I'm not engaging. I don't want to. And it is what it is. And he says, it's not like you cared before. And she says, I care now. No, you don't. You don't care now, Michelle. You don't. It's an ego trip. Your ego was hurt. So we jump into Juan and Carla. Juan, something about him. I think he has ADHD. I think he has something going on. But he has a lot of nervous energy. And you see this throughout this episode. Okay, I had to write that down several times on my notes. So he's like jumping around, moving around. He's saying how he's feeling nervous. Meeting with Dr. Pia, who's about to come over their shared apartment. Carla's looking like she's spaced out, like, Juan keeps, he's moving around, jumping around. Dr. Pia finally appears, and she actually references these photos on Carla's social media, talking about she finds these photos to be strange, considering the raunchiness in these photos. These photos include Carla with these men who I think they're gay. So she probably thinks it's not a big deal because they're gay. But nonetheless, she's humping on these men. She's just super touchy-feely with these men. And Dr. P is like, do you think this is appropriate? Like, do you think this is appropriate? Like, are you okay with this, Juan? And while she's saying, like, while Dr. Pia is going on about, like, do you think this is okay? You see Carla just completely unserious. She's like, oh yeah, on the social media. I was like, like, she's simulating the humping that was going on in these photos. And I felt like Dr. Pia had a bit of a tude in that moment, rightfully so. I feel like Dr. Pia was tired of Carla not taking this moment seriously. The thing about Carla and Juan, they're not being fucking for real. That's just what it is. They're not being for real. They act as if things are going well and hey, we're trying and we talk. We sleep in the same bed. We haven't moved out and they're surface level too. So we talk a lot about Aatchi and Amen being surface level when it comes to, everything. But Carla and Juan, it's the same thing. They don't really go there with each other. Dr. Pia made a good point. She's saying how it's very strange how both of you guys are super free and liberated and touchy-feely with other people. But when it comes to each other in this marriage, none of that is there. Juan is saying he's cool with these photos of Carla. Yeah, he's cool with it because both of them are going to say no. Both of them are going to say no. At least I think for sure Juan is. But I think most likely both of them will say no on decision day. Neither of them are checked in this marriage. It's very annoying to watch. So we get to Madison and Allan. Now, throughout this scene, I was catching a lot. Of how Madison was treating Allan's dog. She even called this dog Satan. And I feel like that right there tells me all I needed to know about Madison. Like, first of all, who are you talking to? And I feel like Allan being he's not a nice guy like Thomas nice guy, but he still is a nice guy. And I think in that moment, he should have been like, dang, don't talk to him like, he should have said something. And there's a reason why that dog, Luffy, doesn't mess with Madison. Madison has a nasty spirit. So Madison calls the dog Satan. The dog approaches Dr. Pia. And the dog is super friendly. You see Dr. Pia's friendly with the dog. Like, good vibes. The animal tells it all. Especially the dog. Because, sometimes cats, they don't like anybody. But dogs, you could tell, like, okay, you're a good person. This dog fucks with you. So Dr. Pia sits down with them. And she's talking about trust. And how is trust something that is had in this marriage. Madison says she doesn't really trust Allan. Not to say that she doesn't trust him with her feelings. Like, she does trust him with her feelings and how she feels comfortable sharing intimate details about her past. But she says she doesn't trust him because of his alcohol use. Girl, I was about to be like, are you fucking for real right now? I feel like Allan, you could see in his face, he was perturbed by that. Like, excuse me? Really? That one moment, which was a foul moment, don't get me wrong, when Allan was saying, I can still drive. And mind you, he probably could have. Let's circle back to that moment a second, okay? I think we don't realize some people are very aware of their body and what makes their body feel inebriated and what makes it not feel as such. And him being aware of his weight and knowing that, okay, I need this amount of drinks, of alcoholic beverages to be buzzed or drunk, I think that's a strong level of awareness that tells me he probably does know his limit and he knows, okay, I can drive home. And when I think about that moment too, I felt like he probably was just annoyed with her. Like, look, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go back to my place. I want to just sleep at my own home because I ain't getting shit here. You're not giving me any type of attention. I don't think they sleep in the same bed. So he probably was thinking, okay, well, I'd rather be in my own home. So just to circle back on that moment, it's okay. Anyway, so yeah, for Madison to bring this up as a moment of legitimacy as to why she can't fully trust Allan, I thought that was a low blow. And I also feel like that's projection. I really do. Madison talks a lot about her mother and how her mother was this negligent mother. She was abusing alcohol and she made a fool of herself several times, especially the time when she had her birthday party when she was in middle school. Like, she talks a lot about these painful moments with her mom being this party girl. And for Madison to turn out seemingly just like her mom, hello, history finds a funny way of repeating itself. And if it makes sense why Madison says how she's nervous to become a parent. Because, yeah, you're just like your mother. You're just like your mother, Madison. I'll be nervous too. So Dr. Pia introduces them to this game called Just a Tip. Now, when I heard the title, I was like, oh, okay. Where are we going with this card game? Just a Tip. You notice that with this card game, Just a Tip, it was not the card game that Aatchi and Amem played during their ice cream date. I feel like producers knew, yeah, this. Let's just let them play Uno or something. Aatchi's talking about, oh, have you ever played Spades? Like, sir, the surface ass date. Anybody got time to play Spades with you? You going to Houston for a homecoming weekend? Goodbye. So yeah, so Dr. P is like, this is a game called Just a Tip. Obviously, it has a sexual innuendo, so there are some sexual questions in the game, but there are also more intimate, emotional type of questions that you guys will get into. Allan says a point. He says, though he's quiet and he's not this like cocky guy, he has this quiet confidence, and that is a trait of someone who's a good lover. And I peeped before he even said that, before this scene came on, once Allan said, what up, papi? What up, papi? To Juan? Okay. I knew right then and there, okay, Allan got that dog in him. Allan got that dog in him. And not to say that he was trying to do it to, Juan or nothing like that. I'm just saying the way that he said it, it was sexual. It was like, ooh, like he knows how to be this, like, I don't know. It was kind of sexy to me. I'm like, okay, what up with you? What up with you, Allan? What up with you? That's what I would have said. So we get to Camille and Thomas. What we going on with? Okay, so Just a Tip. They talk about that too. But their conversation is more so they meet with Dr. Pia. Their conversation is more in detail when it comes to their progression in their marriage. They're the only couple who's had sex, so that is the reason why this conversation is more raunchy. And Dr. Pia, I forgot that she actually is a sex therapist as well, so she's talking to them about oh, so Camille, how do you like it? Now, I feel like these questions, what do you want me, what? I get it, you're a sex therapist, but I feel like, what is the purpose of me? I don't know. It just felt a little weird. So Camille says, she says that Thomas enjoys when she initiates sex. So she's the initiator. And she would like for Thomas to be more assertive. But I wrote down here, she wants him to be assertive, but she can't stand down. Camille cannot stand down. She's the one riding his back. Well, how can he be assertive from that position, Camille? Like, what are we talking about? No, you don't. You talk about you want a roughneck nigga. This is not him. So either you stand down or you just stop acting like you really want an assertive man. No, you want to be the man and you want him to be a little B. So she's talking about, she wants her hair pulled, her ass smacked. I want to be pinned up against a wall. Camille, who is doing that to you, Camille? If you don't be fucking for real right now, Camille, please. Thomas says that he's a giver. He is a giver, and you know what that means. That means he likes to use his, And I'm not surprised. You see his mouth? I'm not surprised. He says that he actually would like for Camille to reciprocate. Okay? She doesn't give head. She doesn't slob the knob. Slob on my knob. Like, she doesn't do that. And I feel like that tells a lot. I'm not surprised. You think Camille is down on her knees giving him head? No. That's not what's happening. Because Camille is so assertive. She is so she's so dominant. And I can't imagine her being quote unquote submissive in that position, in that role. She probably feels like that is a knock to her assertiveness. So no. She says that the reason why she hasn't done it yet because it symbolizes something deeper and she's open to doing it, but it gets like when the time is right type of thing. Like, girl, miss me with the whole time. The time is always right for a man to get a blowjob. Let's cut it out. Hello? When the time is right, I'll give you some head. Okay. So we get to Amem. And Amem is actually back in her actual home. We see her recording, and she is in her actual, like, she's in her own home. She's no longer in the shared apartment. She's using the same line Aatchi said. She says, there's no peace in that home. Right. The peace left. You're the peace, I should say, but the chaos left. So there should have been peace. But I think it's just the memory and the fact that this home is supposed to be for the both of them. And Aatchi has moved out and things have just been in disarray. She probably feels like it's pointless for her to still be in that house, in that shared apartment. So we get to Juan and Carla. Juan is, again, with so much energy, he's bouncing around. Juan, sit down. And I feel like he does this not only because that's his energy. He does it because he's nervous, and he does it because he's not truly connected in this moment. That's what I think it is. I feel like Juan does that, has a mechanism to guard himself from going deeper with Carla. You know, he doesn't do, like, he's doing all this extra stuff to hide himself. That's what I think it is. He's hiding himself. So Carla talks about how she doesn't poop in their own home. I hate when women say that dumb ass shit. I hate that. What are we talking about? Of course you poop. Why are we acting like we can, like, oh, I'm a lady, I'm so shy to poop in front of my man. Girl, I will poop with the door open. Hello? I'm a human being, am I not? And I don't like when men feed into it. I'm glad Juan didn't feed into it. Like, he's saying how he doesn't care. Like, what? That's, I don't care. So you're going to tell when he was reacting to that, I don't know if y'all caught. He said, you're going to tell your kids that, oh, I went to a store to go poop and I was holding his poop. Anyway, the way that he was saying it gave the impression that, yeah, Juan is definitely saying no, but it definitely just said that, oh, your kids, right? He wasn't saying, what are you going to tell our kids, that you went to a whole different house or a different apartment or whatever to go poop? Anyway, so yeah, I just hate when women do that. Like, just poop. It's not that deep. So this tantric yoga thing is a moment that they're going to share with each other. And it's so unserious. Why? Because Juan first sees what's tantric yoga? He's looking at it, and I guess there are some beginner poses in which you are like kind of just like, oh, I'm just back to back and I'm moving and like it's not that deep. And Juan is like, oh, let's practice it. Let's do it right now. Let's do it right now. And you can see Juan is again not being serious. He's not being for real right now. He doesn't really care about tantric yoga and really being like, tantric yoga is not about, oh, who could stand on each other's tippy toes the longest. Like, no, it's really about connecting and being present. It was so dramatic. Anyway, So this woman comes over. Am I jumping the gun? Okay, we'll get to there. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so David. Let's get back to David. David says Michelle is not staying at the apartment. We jump into Madison and Allan. Madison and Allan, they're gifted with the date night gift basket that has, the just a tip card game. Madison says how she doesn't like Allan to drink, yet she's always drinking. That's what I wrote down. Yeah, that's exactly it. She doesn't like him to be drinking, but yeah, she's always the one drinking. Like, which one? That's what I think is projection, man. It's projection. You talking about yourself. You talking about your mom, and you talking about yourself. They're playing just a tip, but Madison doesn't want Allan's tip at all. That's what I wrote down. That's so funny. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, so Allan's dog is the main character of their relationship. You can see her just like pushing that dog away, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, she doesn't care about that dog at all. Allan tells Madison that he got the impression that she is this transactional girl. When they first met, he got the impression that she's transactional, that she's just club girl. And this totally ruined the night. Madison was in her feelings about it. She feels like this was him being stereotypical. And Allan was trying to broach this explanation with care. And he said himself, it may be the wrong choice of words. It wasn't. Allan, you said the right word at the right time. She is transactional. She is a club girl. That is evident. And for him to have spotted that from day one, that says a lot. Like, how on the wedding day you appear like a club girl? Like, remember that girl from, was it last season? I forget her name, but yeah. Anyway, so she feels offended because it's true. That's what I wrote down, because it is true. Allan said he's going to go take the dog out. Madison cries in that moment. She says she feels frustrated and that she's not taken seriously because you don't appear as if you are to be taken seriously. That's why, Madison. The energy you put out is the energy you get. So that is why you are feeling this way. Because she knows it's the truth. And she feels called out. That's what it is. The producer is talking to her and she starts bawling. Finally, not finally, but Allan returns after taking the dog out. Madison says she's gonna go and make a call. Cause mind you, Allan returns and he says he's such a nice guy. And he's like, look, I'm sorry. I just want to apologize again. I didn't mean for that to ruin the nights. And it was just, let's just move on. Let's just move on. Madison, she was like, no, I'm not mad at you. It just, it just took me for a leap, So she's like, okay, I'm going to step out and call Amanda. I just need a breather. So she steps out. She doesn't come back home. She does not come back home until much later. We cut to Camille and Thomas now. Camille is whipping Thomas. She puts an avocado in his mouth. She is just doing too much. Now, obviously, this is a part of the game that they were given. And now it's Thomas's turn to show his dominance. So he ties her up. And when he ties her up, y'all, I'm like, girl. Again, Thomas cannot be this rough, I want a roughneck nigga. Like, he's not this guy. He's not that guy. Where's that from? I'm not that guy. But Thomas cannot be that guy if someone paid him. So he ties her up, and Camille's like, ooh, like, so she's kind of getting excited. And he kisses her. And he gives her these grandma ass peck kiss. Like this. Like, sir, if you don't tongue her down. Thomas, if you don't tongue Camille down, what are we doing with these peck grandma kisses? Oh, so we cut to Allan. It's 12:48 a.m. Madison is still out. Still out. She hasn't texted him. She hasn't called him, let him know what's going on. And it's another example of her being out all night, partying, and doing what she wants to do, living her single life like a club girl that she is. Okay, like the club girl that she is. Madison says, we see in the next scene that she's in front of the gym, of course, and she says how she felt like Allan was calling her a hooker. Now, I see why she said hooker. I didn't clock it from that moment, but because Allan used the word transactional, but girl, let's cut it out. You know what he meant. You're a club girl. You out all night, and you wanna chop it down to, oh, I'm just having a couple of beers. Okay, girl, bye. You can still be a club girl having a couple. You're not having a couple of beers. Okay? So Amem is at her home. Amem calls Dr. Pia. They're on the phone. I'm like, how come they're not talking in person? But they're on the phone. She updates Dr. Pia about the living situation, how Aatchi did not move back in, even though he said that he would, he didn't. And she hasn't heard from Aatchi since that moment. And she still hasn't heard back from him. And Amem says how she doesn't want to reach out to him either. She moved out from the home as well. And Dr. P is saying how, oh, so you don't want to reach out to him? Girl, which one is it? You telling me to stand down, stop calling him my husband, stop doing too much. But then you're asking me again, are you sure you don't want to reach out? No, I don't want to reach out to him, Dr. Pia. Every time I reach out to him, he gets mad. So I'm glad that Amem said that. I'm glad that she said she's letting him lead. The last time they talked, she said very clearly, I will not reach out to you. It's on you. What's that saying? The shoe is in your boat, something like that. So she tells him how Aatchi's in Houston doing homecoming, all these things. He didn't invite her. And he said that he would communicate. I knew that was a lie. He said that he would, but he definitely has not. And yeah, Amem's like, I'm not reaching out to him. And primarily because she knows how he's, like, historically, every time she has reached out to him, she hasn't gotten a response. And she's either, the response that he does give is pretty aggressive. When he calls her aggressive, he's the one who's aggressive. So she's in fear of his reaction, and I don't have time for that. So we cut to Carla and Juan. Their Tantra instructor comes to the home, and she is grannied out. Girl, I'm like, who the hell did they hire? You could tell Juan was like, oh, this is the Tantra instructor. Y'all got us? Okay. Carla with her stupid, dumb Palo Santo. Girl, we got to clear the energy. What is wrong with the energy y'all got? Every time I see them in a scene together, she talking about she has to clear the energy. No, y'all need to talk it out. Seriously, y'all need to talk it out. Why is every time y'all together, you got to clear the energy with this Palo Santo? I'm starting to think it's just y'all two. This Palo Santo can't do anything. Every time you need Palo Santo, the Palo Santo actually got caught on fire in this scene. That's how bad the energy is between them. Put the damn stick down. Put the stick down, Carla. So this granny walk in lingerie, probably hairy armpits, this magic school bus, the driver, Dr. What's her name? Miss Feinstein, looking hair, looking just, what are we doing? So she instructs them to do this heart chakra send off. So each of them, well, Carla and Juan, they have their hands on each other's hearts, and they're holding the hand of the other person that's on their heart. This like contorted type of stuff. And they're looking deeply into each other's eyes. And Carla, she's the type of person who, you could tell she's obviously very into this like whoopsie, whimsical, manifestation stuff. And so she's like, wow, that was so beautiful though. And it's not like that was beautiful because of what was shared between her and Juan. It's the act that was beautiful to Carla. You guys feel what I'm saying? Carla is more in love with these acts of this whimsical woo type of culture. So she's always doing the Palo Santo. She's walking around with no breasts and no bra. She has her hair out in this like fluffy manner. She's talking about, your energy and energy. She's in love with that culture. But when it comes down to really being present in the moment with her husband to connect with him using these tools as a way to do so, she's not really into it. So miss me with the whole, that was so deep. That was beautiful. Okay, but are you really invested right now? You're not. Again, this is the surface. This is the fluffiness. This is what it is. So they're doing all that BS. The instructor leaves and they're finally doing another practice, another exercise on their own together with this rose. Okay, so they each take turns. Juan is like swinging this rose on top of Carla, and again, he's not being sensual. He's not really caressing her. He's not kissing her. Like, these are opportune times to touch her, to tongue her down. And he's taking it as a joke, just as she is. I think it's both ways, y'all. I know we want to say Juan, he sometimes could be performative and sometimes he's passive. All of that is true. I think it's also the same for Carla. I think just as much as he should make some moves, she could do the same. You want to talk about you're this flirty person. Okay, so how come we don't see that? She's talking about when she was sitting down with Dr. Pia that she flirts. I flirt with him. I felt like she was getting an attitude with Dr. Pia. I flirt. I don't know about him. I flirt. Girl, what? What do you don't know about him? So we cut to Allan and Madison. And Allan's meeting her at the gym. And Madison wants to understand where Allan was coming from with that word choice of her being this club girl and yada, yada, yada. Allan explains. He says how, he is holding her accountable, says she's been, okay, so he's holding her accountable here. Okay. Yes, he apologizes again, but he points out like, look, I've been in several situations with you in which you've been stereotypical towards me, yet I moved on. Like, I did not hold it against you, but for you take a while to move on. You are too sensitive. And like, he's saying these kind of key words that of course will trigger her further, but he's right. Everything he's saying in this moment is actual factual. I agree. Madison is just finding further reasons to hold against Allan and use it as a plausible excuse against him to say no. So she's saying, oh, you're calling me sensitive. Why can't I have space to be upset about this? And she's not really listening to what he's saying here. He's saying, the times when you've called me a pushover, you can see in her face she's being defensive. What do you mean? What have I done to you? What have I? Girl, right now, this is what you're doing to me right now. Okay? So he's saying, yeah, the times you called me a pushover and you've been stereotypical towards me and, you already had these preconceived notions about me. I didn't hold it against you. I chopped it up and I moved on. And I still am showing up in this marriage, but you don't give me the same respect. He then, y'all, I was mad at this point though, because Allan then tells us about, okay, you didn't come home. You said you went on a call to talk to Amanda and you never came back home. He waited until 1, and mind you, she's what's her name? Madison's like, I still came home though. What does it matter? I still came home, girl. And I feel like Madison is acting just like her mother. I think this is just his life has a funny way of being life, yo. This is a moment in time in which she is literally acting out how her mom was towards her when she was a kid. Because I'm sure there were moments in her childhood when Madison said to her mom, why didn't you come home last night? Or I was waiting for you. And her mom probably said, at least I came home. I'm here though, right? If you don't get on my, I feel like her mom is doing or did the same things Madison is doing to Allan. And I find that to be so ironic. So Allan, yeah, he's holding her accountable, says that she leaves and is out all night. She doesn't communicate with him. Madison knows he's right. She knows he's right. Like, she doesn't have a leg to stand on, but she is still refusing to see that he's a good man, Savannah. He's a good man. He then tells her about this dumbass dream that he had about how he was forced to watch her get married to someone else. He says that he cares and loves for Madison. And he cares and has love. There's a difference. He has love for her, right? So that's what he's saying that he feels for her. And you could see Madison. I felt, at least maybe I'm reading more into it, but you could see in that moment she felt like her heart was crumbling. In my opinion, I felt like she was feeling guilty because she knows that, dang, me and David, we're kind of seeing each other. And this guy, my husband, right in front of me, talking about he cares and has love for me. So I feel like Madison in that moment had guilt in her face. So we cut to Michelle. She calls her cousin Denise. Not her cousin. She calls David's cousin Denise, this infamous cousin, and she wants to run down of this whole text gate. This text gate. And Denise says that David actually called her and asked if she could cover for him. And initially she said she was down. She like, okay, sure, no problem. But she realized what it was, so she changed her mind. And I found that to be BS, because if you was gonna cover for me. So regardless, like, covering for me obviously tells you enough of what needs to be said. Meaning, a lie is being told right now. And you're my scapegoat. So cover for me. That's what it was. Like, so this idea of, for cousin Denise to say, I was going to cover for him, but then I realized what really was going on and I can't condone it. Girl, regardless if you realize what was going to go on or not, when someone tells you to cover for them, that means this person is lying and needs you to be the scapegoat. He needs you to be the one to help them get this lie off. So girl, cousin Denise, please, trying to act like you have this like moral high ground. I just couldn't do it and I can't condone it. And girl, bye. You was gonna cover for him and just stick to that. All right. So anyway, it ends off with that scene. We see the preview for next episode and it is gonna be juicy. Let's just continue with this ride. Let me know what y'all think about this episode and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.